Hello, everybody. My name is Shannon Lee Smith. I'm also known as Cards by Shannon Lee. I did a presentation for how to organize your craft supplies in Google Sheets. And I've had quite a few questions about the accessing the sheets, but we'll get to that. Looks like Erica has a question. When it's time, my question is if Google Sheets system would work for photos or layouts. Ardith and I were just talking about that. You can input a photo. Accessing the photo is not as easy. You can't enlarge it. I would say it's not as user-friendly for photos. Struggle to keep track of scrapped items and which album holds which layout. Is the album full, etc.? Huh. I'm trying to think of how you would, at the bottom of Google Sheets, there are different pages, and you could assign a page to an album, name your album, and then you could, in each of the rows, list what page you've created, and you can do in another field, do is it complete, in the works, etc. Google Sheets is really friendly where you can create data or columns and then input the data according to what you need. So if you want to use it for organizing your albums, that would be a really great use for it. Just create a page for each album and then create a column for for each data point that you want to access. I hope I'm making sense. Cynthia says, do you have any suggestions for cardstock paper categories? I have rainbow order for the solid and pattern papers. I don't know how to include my themed collection, stickers and embellishments. You know, what I do when I enter my cardstock and my pattern papers, I don't specify what patterns they are. What I will do is I color code everything. So I will just indicate multi. And that's where I was talking to Ardith about Airtable, and there you have access to entering the pictures. That would be, I guess, an option for something if you wanted to have a picture of something, is using Airtable. Both Google Sheets and Airtable are similar, but have some different features. Let's see, how do I rename my file again so it doesn't say copy of craft supplies? Okay, you go up to the file name and highlight it, just, click and drag over the name, and then type the name of what you want your spreadsheet to be called. So craft supplies or craft supply spreadsheet, or yeah, I know what you mean. Copy of craft supplies. Steph says, do you have recommendations on themes to sort by? Is it better to have more specific or broad themes? Okay, I do more broad, or I try to like dumb it down as much as possible. If I'm putting in an animal, I will put like cow, bear, pig, whatever. Or I won't really describe what they're doing, or, you know, if they're sitting, standing, you know, etc. I try to like dumb it down as much as possible. And then what that does is anytime I'm looking for a farm animal, I can type cow and it will bring up everybody, or do Control F and type cow, it'll bring up all the cows. So I try to just dumb it down, I guess is the best term I could use. I have a tech background, I think. I know you love to use digital stamps. Yes, I don't have a technical background. Actually, I was a medical biller for 13 years and used some spreadsheets. So I wasn't IT type, but I do love digital stamps. They are so versatile, and oh gosh, there's so much you can do with them. Oh, there we go. I can see the chat now. How did you get started in crafting? I think like most people, I came across a YouTube video. Actually, I originally gave credit to Jennifer McGuire, but it was the first one that I saw, her name was JD. I think she goes by It's Me JD. And she was the one that got me started. And she mentioned Jennifer McGuire. So I searched Jennifer McGuire, and then it was all over from there. Do you store stamps in number order? Yes, I do. As I make the purchase, I create a label for them with the name and the manufacturer, and then I put a little dot sticker on all right next to the name and the manufacturer. And then when I go to my Google Sheets, it will have the last number of the last product in that category that I used. And so I'll issue it the next number in sequence. And that's how, when I do Control F and then search by cow, and it'll show me all the stamps that have a cow in them. And I can reference in the first column the number of that stamp and the location, like outdoors or animals or critters or whatever. And that will tell me where in my craft room I can find my cow stamps. Just got here. What? Digital stamps. Okay. On the Card Maker Success Summit, I did a presentation, and I think my next presentation is also with digital stamps. And the maker of the digital stamps that I was using is Last Minute Manda, and I created a scene using just shapes from Microsoft Word, and created a backyard with a pool and a wooden fence, and that's the digital stamps that I was talking about. Mandy says, how big is your craft room? 9 by 12, and it's packed to the rims. In fact, I just had my husband install shelves over my closet doors so that I have so many craft supplies. I don't have anywhere to display any like cards that I receive or cards that I make that I want to keep. So I had him install a shelf system right across the top of my closet. So yeah, 9 by 12. It's quite big, but I need to take the advice of a lot of the presenters and purge. I'm working on it. What kind of printer do you use to print your digital stamps? It's an it's a HP Envy. I think it's a 7900. It's a inkjet printer. The inkjet ink is safe for use with Copic markers. So that's the printer that that I use to print my stamps. Now, if I want to foil the digital stamp image, then I will print it with, I have an HP, I can't remember the name of it, but it is a laser printer, and that prints with toner ink, so you can foil the digital images. Where in your craft room would you still like to get better organized? This mess behind me. Oh my gosh. I have, let's see, these cubbies right here, and they're, it's so messy looking that it's hard to look at. So that's where I store my tapes, my pastes, my black inks, and what else do I have back there? My punches, my brushes. Yeah, I think I would, instead of the cubbies, I would rather have shelves. So I'm probably going to get rid of that system behind me. Do you ever try an organization solution that just didn't work? Okay, right now I am in the process of moving all of my stamps and dies from photo boxes to the plastic fridge bins, and they don't hold as much. They're not as long. Now, the problem with the photo boxes is they get heavy, and since they're basically thick paper or card chipboard, they tend to wear out, and the plastic bins are more sturdy. So in that aspect, they work better, but they don't hold as much. I guess it pretty much comes down to I need to purge a lot of my supplies, so so that I can make that work. Do you swatch out your, oh, my ink pads? Yes, I do. I have right down here, I have my ink swatches book, and let me show you. These are my black inks. I have little, I think they're coin pocket sheet pages, and they're 2x2 sections. And so I cut cut squares of paper, and I stamp the ink color. So here I can see all of my black inks, and then I put for my other inks, I put the name of the ink on the page, and then I have a swatch for all of the colors. And I just cut since the pockets are 2x2, I cut 1 3/4 by 2. And the other thing is I use small labels to name the color and the manufacturer. And so I have my Conquer the Ninth and my Distresses and Hero Arts. So yeah, that system works very well for me. You have to fussy cut every digital stamp you get. Okay. I have, this is an expensive option, but I have a brother scan and cut. So if I don't create a scene and I just want to use specific images and cut them, I use the scan and cut to you send it through, it scans the image, then you have the option of an outline or it cutting right on the line. And I usually create a little white outline on them, and it cuts them for me. But I have fussy cut a few. So the answer is no, but it's an expensive option. Favorite black ink to watercolor after stamping an image. You know, when I watercolor, I usually heat emboss my my stamped image. I'm not very good about staying in the lines when I'm watercoloring, so I like to have that little raised wall. But my favorite black ink, I have, it's hard to choose really. My current that I'm using right now is the Gina K Amalgam black ink. I also like the Hero Art Intense black ink and the My Favorite Things Extreme black ink. Those are my top three. Do you have your digital images in a spreadsheet? No, but I sort them in a file on my computer. It is, gosh, what do you call this? It is File Explorer. And when I download all of my digi stamps, I have a download folder. And then under my download folder, I create another folder that says digi stamps. And under digi stamps, I have a folder for each of the manufacturer of the digi stamp. So like I have a Last Minute Manda, I have some different artists from Etsy, and gosh, why am I drawing a blank of different names? Is it D's or D or Die's Digi Stamps? So nope, I don't keep them in a spreadsheet, but I've thought about it. Do you also swatch your markers? If so, how? Yes, I do. And let me grab my example. Sandy Alnach, I can't remember how to pronounce her name. She has something called a hex chart. So I have a binder of all my different pens and my markers, my pencils, etc. And I will either put it in a hex chart, or I've created just a grid in Excel. And let me show you an example of that. Here we go. Oops, popped open. And I just create a grid with borders, and I can, you know what I'll do is I will make a copy of it and I can put it in the chat for everybody to download. Looks like did I freeze? I think they froze. Oh, what are my favorite techniques? I always fall back to Copic coloring. I'm not the best Copic artist, but I'm comfortable with that. So stamping it, I'm trying to get more into die cutting. Right now I'm doing paper flowers, and Susan Tierney Coburn, I think she's a designer for Spellbinders, has a line of flower dies, and oh, I love them. Love creating dimension with the flower dies. Those are my favorites. I chose Google over Excel because Google is a free option, and I wasn't sure if most people have Excel, since it used to be when you bought a new computer that Microsoft Office came with a computer. Now you actually have to purchase Microsoft Office for most computers. So I chose the free option to do my presentation. But a lot of the commands are exactly the same. I think Excel is more powerful, but I didn't even go into half of what it's capable of doing. Technique I'm afraid to try. doing like the mixed media with the paste and the layering, it's something that it's my goal right now. It intimidates me greatly because I'm not a perfectionist, but I'm a wannabe perfectionist. So yeah, that mixed media is, I I don't want to say it's my nemesis yet, but it does intimidate me greatly. Okay, the organization solution I'm most proud of is how I've organized my stamps, because I've kept up with the numbering and have the categories, those, that's something that I put a lot of effort, so therefore I'm proud of. I learned that I need to purge my very crowded craft room. Tiffany Solorio's craft room is so pretty and so organized. I know that she says there's a mess behind her closet door, but I would love to be able to share my craft room and it look all nice and cutesy and Pinterest worthy. So yeah, I've learned that I definitely need to purge. I think Jess Crafts did one that she talked about how to organize while you're creating projects. That was a really good presentation. I will definitely use those tips. A lot of stamps and dies. Entering them into Google Sheets is daunting. Do you think it's worth the time? Okay, if you have a lot, it's going to be a process. Is it worth it? Yes, I think it's worth it if you're someone that searches for something specific. If you're someone that just gets something new and then decides, oh, I want to use that, then I would say it's probably not the best idea. But if you're somebody that searches for something specific, like a sentiment that says, with deepest sympathy, or happy birthday, happy Mother's Day, etc., all of it's worth it if you want to reference that information and go back and use those things. But if you usually use just what's new and pretty and exciting, then I would say I wouldn't take the time. But if you want to search through and actually get the most out of using your supplies, I would say definitely break it down into categories. I would organize them. The system I use is I have I call it outdoors. So any plants, flowers, houses, cars, anything that you would find outside the door, I call outdoors. I have backgrounds and, you know, sets that are primarily sentiments, and another section that's critters and animals. Break them down and conquer one category at a time. If you find that you've done all the work for that category and you're not using the system, maybe not, don't go any further. I found that by having to list all of my items, I found it easy to destash some of them because I just couldn't be bothered to type them into my system. That was clear indication it was time for it. The will. Yep, that's exactly what I'm working with right now. Who would you love to craft with in real life? Oh my gosh, that is such a hard question. There are so many awesome crafters. Anybody that's in the summit right now, that would be super awesome. I haven't met anybody in the crafty industry in person yet. So gosh, I can't pick one. I guess probably the most, since Tiffany Solario is only a couple hours away from me, I pick Tiffany. She's the closest, so that's probably the most logical option. I have to take some of my stamps and dies apart and don't know the manufacturer. Do you run into this issue and how to fix it? Taking some of the stamps and dies apart. I think you could probably do well, there's two ways to do it. Is just do a Google search, maybe by type of an image or a sentiment, that if there's like a unique sentiment in your set, or also take a picture of it, and maybe I think Google has you can search by images. I have a category called old. Yep, I have some of those. I've received several stamps from friends, and they didn't have the organization system that I use. So there, I have a lot that are kind of vague descriptions without the name of the manufacturer on them. It's time to wrap up. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Please take down. Thanks for stopping by, everybody. I will drop a link to the marker swatch sheet that I use into the Facebook chat. Thanks for joining me, and enjoy the rest of the summit.